And that's one of the things I always advocate for too, is like seeing more Black women or women of color in media, because I'm just like, I know we're there, but it's still, I feel like to this day, it's not something like, there always has to be like a separate thing.
And welcome back to Filter What?
Podcast, let's get it.
Hey, what's up? It is your girl Satti, and you guys know the man to the left of me.
What's up, y'all? It's Dash. Let's get it. Let's get it.
And welcome back to Filter What?
Filter What Podcast. Got a special guest today.
Yes, we do.
What we talking?
A heavy hitter, Miss Brianna.
Okay.
Multimedia Creative, entrepreneur.
Talk that talk.
She has so many titles.
I
I'm
do.
telling you, this lady, she does everything.
Yes,
Nah,
ma'am.
yeah.
Nothing. She's unstoppable.
Welcome to the show.
Yes,
Yes,
welcome.
thank y'all for having me.
Nah, of
I'm
course,
like,
of course.
I'm just like,
Pleasure.
I'm so excited. Like, I love to talk. So
Yes.
I'm excited.
You came
that
to
I'm
the
on
right
this
place.
podcast. I did. And I'm just excited to be here and just to share, like, you know, whatever, and answer
Yes.
y'all's questions and just, you know, get into it. So
Nah,
Beautiful.
it's a pleasure to have you here. We're excited to have you.
Yes,
Word.
for great things.
Yes.
So
Thank you,
we're
thank you,
We're gonna
thank you.
dive into these questions.
I'm ready. I'm prepared.
Okay.
I'm prepared.
Well, to start off, okay, where are you from? Tell us,
Where I'm from. Okay. So it's crazy because a lot of people think I'm from the Bronx because I
Okay.
work in the Bronx. I like
Yes.
VX, like VX been holding me down for a long time. But I'm originally from Yonkers, raised in Yonkers.
Okay.
Born in New York City. I was born West 12th Street. I shouldn't forget the name. I shouldn't forget the name of the hospital where I was born.
damn. Okay.
St. Vincent's Hospital is no longer there, but
Okay.
that's where I was born, raised in Yonkers, but now living in Harlem.
Okay,
so,
heard you.
A lot of people, they're like, "You in the Bronx, right?" I'm like, "No, I just work in the Bronx." But yes, New York, not New York City, but New York all the way.
All the way. Okay, nice.
So we know each other. We met.
Right.
But talk to us about your start. What inspired you to become like a multimedia creator?
Okay, so it started all the way back in 2012.
Okay.
All the way back a little while ago. But I was in high school where my dad gave me his first, like, the first generation Rebel, like, XC, like the first generation. He was just like, here, like,
Yeah.
go do something with it. And I was
Right.
like, what? Like, what am I supposed to do with this?
Right.
Like, I don't, what?
Yeah.
So I was just like, okay, you know, let's just see where this goes. And I was getting ready to graduate. So I was just like, it wasn't anything like I had ever thought about getting into. I mean, I was always creative, but never like
Right.
mixing tech and art. Like, it was never that.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So I just started taking like pictures. It started with like selfies. Like, I would do my makeup like in my room and like just like do like the whole nine. Like, I was my own model
Right.
for a while.
Yes.
Check you out.
So, you know, I was
Going
doing a
all
little
out.
something. I was doing a little something.
Yeah.
But then, like, when I would be outside, you know, I would just get pictures of like the city, nature and stuff like that. And it was crazy because a lot of the things that I was doing, I didn't know any of it had meaning. You know,
Right.
like rule of thirds and like all these different things. And a lot of the pictures that I took, looking back at them now, I'm just like, oh, this is what that means?
Right.
I'm like, oh, okay. So that's where the visual journey started. And then when I got to school, I went to Lehman
Okay.
in Bronx
Okay.
again. So when I got to school, I think I was thinking about education, but I wasn't really sure. I was thinking about it. I was like, oh, I don't really know.
Yeah.
And then on the fateful day of September 3rd, 2014, I was a sophomore. They were like, I was kind of interested in, it was like education, writing, and I was like, okay, maybe I could try journalism because I'm
Right.
like, I really do like to write. But then I had this experience with this teacher, and I was like, you and I ain't gonna make it together.
Right.
You're doing a lot. I don't like the way you teach. I gotta go.
What it up? What it-
Yeah, it was wild because she taught all of the journalism classes at the time.
Damn.
So there was no way for me to
Yeah,
get out
no
of
way
it. I was
out.
like,
Yeah.
either I'm gonna leave this major or
Right.
I don't know. I gotta go.
Right.
So I decided to switch my major from journalism to film and television.
Okay.
And then the department head was like, yeah, you're going to need an internship to graduate. I was like, okay, I don't know where I'm supposed to go because I'm just like, you know, I'm new. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
So fortunately, they had BronxNet Community Television, which was literally right downstairs. And I spoke to the director of creative services, and she passed, I believe, last year. So, you know, may she rest in peace. But when I spoke to her, I was just like, yeah, you know, I'm going to need an internship. I'm really interested in like switching over to like film and TV. She was like, okay, well, just here. She just handed me the application. I was just like,
okay.
I was like, okay, like,
Yeah.
because I'm like, you always hear about like the process being like mad long, like you got to jump through hoops and fire and stuff like that. But she was just like, here. I was like, okay.
There's a blessing. There you
Yeah,
go. You didn't have to go. You didn't have to go through all that.
I did. She was just like, here, and I was like, okay, great. So she handed me the application. I filled it out, and then she was like, okay, so when you start? I was like, next week. And she was like, okay, great. I was like, okay. So I think it was a Wednesday, and I stepped foot in that studio, and that was it. I was like, ever since then, I was just like, this is where I want to be for the rest of my life.
Beautiful.
Like, I was very, very serious about it. I was very adamant about like all the different. I'm like looking at this stuff now. Like, I remember just being in that stage back then. It's just like, okay, so what does this do? What are these lights? What are these buttons? Like all the technical things. I'm like, what do all these things do?
Right.
And then it was even crazier because I was in film and television at the time because I had switched my major. So anything I was learning in school, I was also applying to my internship. So I got double exposure, which was like amazing. Yeah. So I was there from 2014 up until 2017. I spent 2 years. Well, I spent about 9 months as an unpaid intern. Right. That's part of the process.
Yeah, you got to start from somewhere. That's
right. So I spent 9 months as an intern, and then eventually I moved up to becoming like a senior intern. So I was kind of responsible for like not necessarily managing, but bringing anybody who did come into the studio. Everybody would come to me. Like, because I don't know, it just kind of happened, because I was always in the studio. So anytime any new interns would come in or like staff had any questions, it was always just like, oh, talk to Brianna. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm here. Yeah. So, and then I became like head floor manager. So I was running the shows basically.
Big
and
shot.
I moved up, moving on up. I was like telling people what to do, and I was organizing the crews and stuff like that. And it was crazy because it's like, when newer people would come in or other staff would be there, I would like, hey, can you just manage this real quick? And they're like, no, you could do it. You know how to do it. And I'm like, we trust you. And I'm like, oh, okay, all right. So I spent time as the head floor manager, and then eventually once I graduated, there's all these synchronicities now that I'm thinking about all this. Like, I graduated 2016, and then 2017 I ended up working with BronxNet as the studio coordinator and youth internship coordinator. Nice. So everything that I was doing before getting that title, I'm like, it kind of led up to that opportunity.
Right. Makes sense.
So yeah, from 16 to 17, I spent time as the coordinator for both studio and interns, and I like loved it because I was just like, I'm still in the studio working with all these people. I love talking to people. I love like managing and like, directing, and not necessarily being like a dictator, but just being able to like organize and manage and making sure that things are supposed to run the way they're supposed to run. Right. And having that like responsibility. And then after a while, I was just like, okay, I feel like I've gotten what I needed to get. I was there for 3 years, and then I was like, okay, I didn't know where I was going to go, but I knew I was like, okay, I feel like it's time to go. Right. I'm not sure like who I'm going to be reaching out to. So, I'm giving y'all all the details. All the details.
Spill it all.
So prior to my feeling that I needed to leave, I had a conversation with a family friend of mine who used to work at CNN like years ago. And she was just like, maybe just submit your resume and see. So this was like May. I left that July. So like literally, what is that, like 2 months or so? Or like, spring. It was springtime, 2017. Right. And she was like, just submit your resume, see what happens. So I was like, all right. So I submitted my resume. Of course, didn't hear back from them. Right. I wasn't stressed about it because I was just like, I'm still here. I'm not really looking to leave right now. Then the summertime came, and I was like, okay, I'm really feeling like I gotta go. I love y'all, but I just felt like I wasn't growing, and I hate feeling like that. Yeah. Just feeling stagnant and like no new energy. So I remember I got a call. And it was somebody from one of the departments at CNN. And they were like, hey, we're looking for a production assistant. If you're interested, please give us a call. I was like,
That's a sign.
Yeah,
that was a whole sign.
It was a whole
Yeah,
sign, and it was a
whole
big sign because I'm
Yes.
just like, I already felt like I wanted to leave, and then now here y'all are calling me, and I'm like, this is just perfect.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
So September 15th was my last day at BronxNet, and then I started at CNN that following Monday. Like I was like, okay, we gotta keep going. I can't just kind of sit and wait around. Like I gotta start.
Yeah.
So I started at CNN. And I felt like I was on top of the world because I'm just like, everybody in the world know this who these people are.
Exactly.
I'm like, this is great. I'm with the big dogs. I'm like, this is corporate. I'm like, this is amazing. But then of course you run into it's corporate. Now you're not working in the community anymore. Yeah. So there's different energies. There's different people that are there. It's a whole different vibe. Yeah. So I was there for about 6 months. And after like the 4th or 5th month, I was like,
yeah, maybe.
Oh, I don't know. Because I'm like, you going from working with a nonprofit, everybody looks like you.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody's mainly the same age. Everybody's kind of doing the same thing. Everybody kind of wants to gain the same, experiences and stuff like that. So being there, I'm like, I don't really know if I can vibe here.
Yeah.
Right.
So eventually they did let me go due to budget reasons because they were going through like a lot of like financial things. So I was probably like one of the first people that got cut.
Right.
But I was like, I ain't tripping. Like,
right. Exactly.
I gotta go.
What's meant for you is gonna be meant for you when that shit start.
Exactly. So. But it was kind of like at that time, I was like, okay, now what am I supposed to do? I've been working in this industry from 14 to 18. So I'm like, I've already been here 4 years. I've done a couple things, had all these experiences. So I was like, all right, we have to pivot. We gotta figure out something to do. So I was like, okay, well, I've been doing photography since 2012. So it's been a minute. But let's try this entrepreneurial thing.
Right.
Let's just see what happens. And it was rough because I'm like, I had never done anything on my own. I was always working for somebody. And of course, I've never had a full-time job. I have not had a full-time job since I graduated college. So there was never that complete security. It was always like either hourly or, So I was like, all right, we just going to try this thing here and see what happens. And, I was going through a lot with my family at the time, so it was a lot. Like, family life, my parents had split. So it was like, I lost my job, my parents split, and I was like, yo, like, what is happening right now? Like, I'm like, this is real life. This is real, like, real. It just got really real. So, I just kind of had to just figure stuff out between, 18 to 2020, like, before the pandemic hit. So I just, took little gigs. I did what I could. And then 2020, I started feeling like, all right, I've been doing this for a little bit. I need to make this real now. If I'm really going to be about this entrepreneur life and start doing things on my own, I feel like I need to be registered like with the state. Like I need to have LLC because I would feel more, what's the word? Official and like real, because it's like now I gotta send invoices. Now you gotta do that. Now I gotta do like more business like stuff. So 2020, started my production company, registered as registered for an LLC, and then 2000. I'm backtracking a little bit. 2019. Actually, before I started my production company, I started working in Rockland. With this youth program as an educator, teaching middle school youth video production. So that was kind of like an entry point for like education, because I was like, I had never thought about education. Maybe like in college, like before I found like film and TV, but I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool. Like I like working with kids, I'm like, this is okay, we could do this. 2020, literally up until now, I've been with a whole lot of people, a bunch of different nonprofits, a bunch of like new businesses. And that's really where I focus and I get most of my inspiration from, is like new businesses, and, new and small businesses and nonprofits, and just working in the community. Because it's like a lot of times, sometimes it's like, and we were talking about this like before being on, it's like, the spirit of comparison, especially with social media. For me, it was always like, I could easily go and find a full-time job real easy. You know,
Right.
I could easily go and start working with celebrities and stuff like that, but it just is not in my spirit.
Right.
So it's just like, you know, I feel more comfortable being around folks that we all in the same boat. We're all here together.
Right, exactly.
So from 20 up until now, I've just been working all over the city, just with people in the community. So that is literally my entire story. From now up until from 2012 up until now. So.
Right.
All right, check you out.
Okay, so like to piggyback on your start of you know, being a whole entrepreneur.
Yeah.
What like hardship or challenges you faced and how did you overcome them?
That's a great question. Hardships. Let me see. I feel like there's so many. It's like, how do I choose one? How do I choose one?
It's okay.
I think just like staying the course. You know, I had a conversation with somebody, a really close friend of mine from my job, and she was just telling me like over the last like 6 months, basically, I still kind of have been experiencing that when productions slow down during the holiday season. I've never experienced that before, especially because I'm on my own. I'm like, I got hit like hard.
Right.
So from like September up until maybe like a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like I struggled, like really struggled, because I'm like, should I just give up like everything and just go find a full-time job? I definitely could. I have way more than enough experience, and you know, I feel like people would readily accept me, like, you know, but I'm like, I can't do it. Like, I'm not with having to be up at the same time every day.
Right.
You know, I like having my own schedule.
Exactly.
You know, even if I'm somewhere Monday through Friday, which I actually am now, but it's a part-time job.
Right.
And, you know, they have been amazing in allowing me to kind of just move wherever I need to move because they know what I do.
Yeah.
So that has always been a pretty big hardship. It's like, do I really stay with this or do I just go and jump and get a full-time? So that has been a really big one. Trust in the process just in general. A lot of times I get very upset when things don't go right the first way.
It's normal. I feel like that's anybody within any field
That's
they
true. Yeah.
You know?
are in. So,
and it's kind of like, you know, you plan for things and you try to control them and you want things to unfold a certain way, and then when they don't, it's just kind of like, okay, so what am I supposed to do now?
right.
Yeah.
But there have been just multiple situations, you know, working with clients and, you know, building relationships with folks. It's not all gonna be like flowers the first time. It's like you got to figure out what's best for you, what's best for the client, you know, like how do they all add up so that we both are satisfied with whatever we're trying to get out of this.
Right, that makes sense.
So just trying to keep a level head and not be too hard on myself when it comes to, you know, new relationships, especially with clients and working with like different people. That has been pretty tough because it's like, you know, just like you said, we all go through it. Yeah. But I feel like for me, because I am on my own, you know, I'm not working for anybody but myself. It is just me. So a lot, you know, I get pulled in different directions and it's like having to decide, well, it's like, okay, do we want to go this way? Is this client cool? So that's another hardship, is like figuring the balance of everything. Like even over these last couple of months, you know, when gigs weren't coming in, I'm like, yo, I'm not used to this. Like I need to be active. And I'm like, this is killing me. Because I'm just like, I'm used to getting up and, you know, doing what I'm doing. But now it's just me.
Right.
There ain't nothing for me to do besides trying to figure it out. You know, so the balance, that has been kind of hard because it's just kind of like, you know, I'm like I said, I'm just always active. I'm used to being active. But now that I'm kind of coming out of that, like the flip side, I've become very sensitive to the things that I actually put my time into. Right. And it's just like, all right, if I know that I want to work with this client, I got to set boundaries. Right. I'm not answering the phone after 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Of course.
The phone is shut off. Like, that's it.
As you should.
You know, like, I'm very big on that. I'm like, I'm not answering no calls. You know, unless I know you, I'll make an exception. But new clients, I'm like, don't be hitting me up after 8 o'clock. Because now I'm in the bed. I've already had my tea. I've done my thing. Exactly. Don't hit me up. So, you know, now taking all of those things, and because I've had so much downtime, even though it was hell, but I feel like I've become very grounded in the things that like I said, I know I want to put my time into, and just, how I want to show up, to certain situations. So, yeah, those are definitely like top 3.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel that. Okay, being a woman in this field, and also being a woman of color.
Yes.
Have you ever felt any resistance?
I've never felt resistance. I feel like it's always been like, oh, who are you? It's never been like, oh yeah, it's never been a degrading kind of thing. I fortunately have never felt that, because I've heard some stories, and I'm just like, it's real. It's very real, being, and especially in corporate situations. Or sometimes there have been these things where it's just like, and I'm just speaking based off of personal experience, but you have like just the male and female dynamic. Like if it's a lot of men and it's only a few women, everything tends to be male dominated.
Right.
So it's always going to be like the male perspective in the room. But I fortunately have, worked with various people, been on a bunch of sets, and I've never felt like I didn't belong.
Okay.
And I guess it's because I'm very adamant about where I show up. If I feel like it's going to be a problem, in my early days, I probably just would have been like, all right, whatever. But now it's just kind of like, no, the people that I've worked with, everybody kind of knows, it's always a synergy.
Right.
It's never been like, oh my gosh, I felt like I was disrespected or looked down upon. So I thankfully say I've always been supported. I've always felt supported, seen, and like anything that I'm thinking about or anything that I want to do, it's always taken into account. Like, Bree, what do you think about this? And I'm like, oh, well, such and such. So I've never really felt that, and I'm very thankful, because like I said, I've heard some stories, and I'm just like, yo, like, I just thank God. I've never gone through that. So
that's a good thing.
And that's one of the things I always advocate for too, is like seeing more Black women or women of color in media, because I'm just like, I know we're there, but it's still, I feel like to this day, it's not something like, there always has to be like a separate thing, for us, like to show up. And it's just like, no, let's everybody be together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be a separate thing. Like, one of the things for me being a cinematographer and being a DP, I hear it all the time. Like, you don't see Black female cinematographers, Black female DPs. It's like, it's not a thing.
Right,
But I'm like, no, we're here.
They're there.
We're here. We just,
just scattered.
We're just scattered, and the numbers is a little low. Yeah. But, especially working in education, when students, I always tell them, like, no, this is a real thing. Like, you can really do this. Yeah. So, all that to say, I've never felt any kind kind of being on set.
Beautiful.
So thankfully.
Yes, that's good.
I've never felt that.
Definitely good.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself, in the next 5 years? Like, what is
5 years?
The
goal, 5 years. What that'll be? What year are we now? 23.
23.
The years
ago by.
I'm like, okay, 5 years from now. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know right now, and I was having a conversation with my mom, because me and my mom, we be talking like every day. We be talking for like 4 or 5 hours a day.
Yeah.
Like, we just be talking. So I remember I was kind of telling her, I was like, yo, I'm starting to feel like I'm even a little scared, because I'm feeling like I don't know if I want to continue shooting.
Okay.
And it's been very scary, because I'm like, I've been shooting for so long.
Yeah.
How can I give this up?
Right.
You know what I mean? But I feel like now I can walk on somebody's set and be like, okay, no, you can do this.
Yeah,
you can set
absolutely.
this up. I've been on some projects where I'm like, okay, it was just me, having to wear multiple hats, and I feel like it's scarred me a little bit, because I'm just like, we're trying to do so many things, and it's just like, of course I had support, but not the support I needed to make me feel like grounded.
Right.
Okay.
So I'm kind of feel like my next steps now are more management, coordination.
Yeah.
Kind of like directly.
Yeah.
I'm like,
you have that.
Yeah, I'm like,
I
I can tell you what to do.
Yeah.
And I've done everything so much, I can tell somebody else how to do it now.
Right,
I can kind of let go of like that whole process. I'm like,
Right.
you really want me to walk around with a tripod and lights and all that?
Yeah.
I'm like, you know how many times I've done that?
Exactly.
I'm like, you know how long I've been
Exactly.
doing that, and for basically next to nothing, you know. But I mean, on the flip side, that's how I grew.
Yeah.
You know, I was able to, okay, I know this tripod's supposed to go. You know, I know where things are supposed to go.
Right.
But now I'm like, no, you can do that.
You can do it.
Yeah, I feel you.
Exactly.
Go ahead. You can handle that. I don't got to do it. So I feel like within the next 5 years, that's kind of where I would want to move. Definitely directing. I love doing like Tiny Desk. Like I actually was just directing a music video on Friday. Yeah, Friday morning. I love doing anything with like music pieces, like not necessarily music videos, but like definitely Tiny Desk-esque.
Right. Yeah.
Because I love working in live situations, and it all stems back to me being a Bronxnet.
Right.
It was live. All the shows were live, so everything was happening right then and there. There was no like, you know, looking at a script and figuring. I mean, that whole process is great. I've done it a couple of times, but I'm like, now I kind of feel like, no, let's just. Whatever happens, and we'll just kind of figure it out on the fly. Right. Narrative is a whole different head. So definitely like doing more music pieces, directing, producing, definitely just coordinating, kind of telling other folks what to do.
Right, exactly.
Boss up, like you know, like y'all can handle this. I'll be here if you need me, but I'm not gonna be the one doing the legwork.
Right.
I've done enough of that.
You've done enough.
I've done enough.
You know.
Y'all can handle it. If you need me, I'll be here. I can help to consult on what it's supposed to look like. But y'all can handle it.
Right.
I done did that.
Been there, done that.
Been there, done that. I don't need to do that no more. I'm good. So I feel like that's kind of like where I would want to move. Like specifically, I don't know what that looks like because I'm like, I don't know what could be happening next month.
Yeah, you never know.
Never know. Yeah. But that's kind of how I've been feeling, and even having to I wouldn't say grapple, but just thinking about that, I'm like, me not shooting no more?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'll pick up my camera, but I'm like, that's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you.
But then I also don't feel weird when I'm not doing it.
Right.
You know, I don't have to set up a tripod. I don't have to set up lighting. I don't have to do all that. And it's like, oh, somebody else can do it.
Yeah.
Now I'm a charge for it. I'm like, you need me to bring it? Now I got to charge you. Because now that's extra. So now I live in a 4-story walk-up. So I'm like, I done been through it
Right.
Try everything. So I'm like, you want me to bring it? Now I gotta charge you. Right. This is extra work that now I have. So all that to say, that's really where I'm feeling like I want to go. So you know, and projects have been coming. People have been reaching out about like doing projects like that, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. Yeah. I like it. I like how this feels. I like how it looks. And I think we're gonna
go with that.
Yeah, we're gonna go with that. See, we gonna go with that. We're gonna stick with that. So I think yeah, definitely within the next 5 years.
All right. So with everything that you do, all the work that you put in, what is your legacy? What's the footprint that you're looking to leave behind? And what is some advice that you would give to someone coming before you?
That's a great question. I think the legacy that I would want to leave with folks, or what I would want folks to know, is that I stayed in the community. Like I'm really big on staying in the community with folks who look like me. Right. And that, especially for my kids, my students, this is a field that is attainable. Right. It's not rocket science. Right. I mean, I feel like it could be for some folks, because it's like, oh, so how do I start? Right. It's not hard, you know, especially in this age. Everybody's on social media. Everybody's a content creator. You know, everybody can do these things. Yeah. Absolutely. But when it comes to like actually producing and actually shooting and, you know, taking on a little more responsibility, I always let my kids know that it's very like you can do this. Right. This is definitely something that you can do. Right. So I think the legacy or the foundation that, you know, I want to set for folks is just like, you know, it's possible no matter what you've been through. Because, you know, I've been through some things where I was just like, this might be it. Like, I don't even want to be here no more. Like, serious, like, life things. But, you know, I pushed through, and I had my community that was there to help me see past what I was going through. And I'm just like, I thank God, like, every day for the folks who have checked in on me and, you know, stuff like that. So I just want to, you know, let folks know, like, if you just put your mind to it and reach out to folks, rely on the people that are there for you,
Right.
So I think that's what I would want folks to know. Like, it's not rocket science. You can start whenever you want to start. You just have to be serious about it.
Absolutely,
and really like put in the work and like really like get out there and just do it. But your community, I feel like for me, is always going to be like your number one. Mm-hmm. Like the tribe and the like, even when we were talking about it like before, like building relationships with people.
Absolutely.
That's what you have to do.
Yeah.
Like even like in any like business or whatever it is that you're doing, you have to network. It's important.
That's true.
You
Absolutely.
have to meet with people. You can't just do things on your own.
Yep.
It's like you can kind of get by, but other folks might add certain things.
Exactly.
They will give you different perspectives, and it's just like you might not have thought about this thing that way. Mm-hmm. So your community, your tribe, and just being really serious about what it is that you want to do, and just going and doing it. So that's what I want to leave.
Okay, I love it. Yeah. So we just gonna have a little fun.
Okay.
The game is called One Has to Go. So
one has to go.
Yes, one has to go. So
okay.
We're gonna provide you with some options.
Okay.
And you have to choose. You have to pick one.
Okay.
All right. Even if it's hard.
Okay. Oh.
All right. I'm sorry.
Oh my! I'm gonna look into the camera for this.
The last person.
Okay. I'm gonna look into the camera for this because I'm nervous now. She said we got options. You gotta get rid of one.
Yeah, you gotta get rid of one.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So first one.
Mm-hmm.
One has to go.
All right.
Working at the church, teaching kids, or working on set?
One has to go. Okay. Well, one has already gone.
Okay.
So it would be at 2 out of 3. Mm-hmm. Working on set or working. That is a.
Damn, that's a tough.
That's a really tough one.
I'm sorry, I had to make it hard.
It's all right. It's tough. It is tough because I actually do think about that more often than I should. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, that's because I'm like, that's my life. That's my entire life. Right. I can't but to be honest, like really, really honest, I feel like maybe I know. Maybe not working on set.
Okay.
Because a lot of times I feel like I don't want to be without teaching. I do want to stay in education. Okay. So I really don't want to because I've thought about it. I'm like, if I were to just go get a full-time job or get a job where I'm on set all the time, then I'd be like, well, I miss my kids.
Right.
I miss being able to educate, even if it's not like somebody who's in middle school, somebody who's our age. They're still considered a student.
Right.
So I'm like, they're still able to be educated about something. Mm-hmm. So I really feel like if I didn't have to be on set, if I can continue education and kind of just and see, it also plays into what I was just talking about, because now I ain't got to bring no cameras. You bring me the camera, and I can tell you what it is that you're supposed to know. So I feel like if I did have to give one up, it probably would be being on set. If I could just continue with education. With whoever that is.
Right.
Oh, that was tough. That was tough. That was thought-provoking. That was tough. That was a good question. That was a great question.
One has to go: gimbal, handheld, or tripod.
If one had to, honestly, if one had to go, I feel like the gimbal would have to go.
I had a feeling he was gonna say that.
I feel like a gimbal would have to go because I got so used to shooting handheld. Gimbals now, with the gimbal that I have, and probably because I don't know it enough, I feel like it stops me from what it is that I want to do. I'm like, shooting handheld, I could get right in your face. You know what I mean? I could get right to you. But with the gimbal, I'm just like, oh, now I gotta move the camera around. I have to position my body a certain way. I'm like, this is a lot.
I be feeling the same way sometimes.
And I'm just like, there's more that you have to do to get the same, and I'm just speaking from personal experience, but I feel like there's more that you have to do to get that smooth handheld look. So honestly, I'm like, if there's like a little thing I could put my camera on, just kind of just go like this, I'd be fine. Okay. I don't need the whole whole setup. Tripods, I'm just like, they could go, no, I was gonna say they could go too, but no, I know, I was gonna say they could go too. I'm like having to carry those around, but no, gimbal. I feel like the gimbal could go, yeah, because I feel more comfortable shooting handheld anyway, because I'm not gonna say I wasn't struggling on Friday, but I'm just like, I gotta bring this, and I have to balance it.
Yeah.
And it's not gonna gimbal.
Yeah.
Okay. Gimbal for sure.
All right.
Yeah.
One has to go. Videography, photography, creating content.
I think photography could go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think photography.
She said that easy.
I did, because it's something I've been thinking about too. I'm just
Okay.
like, for me, when I first started, photography was everything.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like, I love doing events. I still love doing events, but I had a shoot a couple of weeks ago, and I'm just like, oh, this is all I get to do. I'm like, this is boring to me now. I'm like,
It's
okay,
I know the feeling too.
exciting.
Yeah.
it's just like, and shout outs to the people that like are like photographers like that, like Dash, like just being in the studio and stuff like that, because it takes a certain level. For me, it takes a certain level of patience. You have to direct, the model, and then especially when it gets to post production, you got to edit. I'm like, that whole process doesn't align with me now.
Right.
Because I'm like, if I could edit a video, there's a bunch of moving parts, and I like little things that having to put things together. Like I like doing that, but I feel like now with just photo, I'm just like I'm just staring at one picture all day.
Right.
And then even
it's true. Yeah.
I'm like I can't. I don't know. I can't get with it. Even the same shoot that I'm kind of alluding to that I had. I'm like, I gotta sit with all these pictures.
Yeah.
And then after a while, things start looking the same. And I'm just
that's
like,
true.
Are my eyes going? Do I need glasses? Because now I'm like, I'm starting to see things, and I got to open the picture. I'm like,
exactly.
Give me some video work. I'm like, now, if I need to take a clip out, or if this doesn't look good, I can just take it out. A picture, you gotta go in. I'm like,
yep.
Give me the video.
Make
Make my life easy.
Okay.
But it was definitely a pleasure having you on the show. I'm really glad that you could make it.
Yes.
Made it on.
This was amazing.
Yeah.
This was amazing. I'm so glad to be able to, drop gems, and like I said, I love to talk. I love to talk. So I'm just like, whatever, I love being able to share, my experiences, because I just would hope that somebody could pick something up from what I've been through, so they don't have to go through that too.
Right.
So.
Beautiful. Yes, it is a pleasure.
Yes.
And where can people follow you? Where can people book you?
Yes. So you can find me on Instagram at the Visual Butterfly, THE_visual_ butterfly, not the regular spelling, but BUTTER. Should not be forgetting this, because it's my own name. My own name. BUTTERFLEYE. Not the regular spelling, so EYE at the end. My other page is Brianna Rohlehr Visuals. Super easy. But then also my website, BriannaRohlehr.com. You can, I literally just finished all my pricing. I've never put pricing on my website before, but I kind of feel like I'm at a space now where I'm like, all right, here you go.
Right.
It's,
all the information.
All the information. If you still need to contact me, you can contact me.
Right.
But pricing is there. Everything is there. So, feel free to DM me, send me an email. I think my number is on there, my business number. My business line.
Stalkers.
my other line is on there, so I'm very accessible to most folks. So, yeah, that's all my information.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in to Filter What? Be sure to like, subscribe, all of it.
See y'all at the next video.